Right now at 4, the cleanup process is beginning for people in the state as storms bring tornadoes and strong winds. And the stock market takes a big hit as President Trump's retaliatory tariffs are set to go into effect. How one of America's largest trading partners is reacting.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News First at 4.
Well, thank you for joining us for your 5 News First at 4. I'm Morgan Wrigley. Darren is in Fort Smith where the Levitt Amp Music Series is kicking off today, and we'll check in with him in just a bit. But first, let's send it over to Joshua Weisel, who is tracking a busy forecast today.
Yeah, and it's been a busy last couple of days. We've had multiple rounds of storms, continuing to see thunderstorms across the area. If you're in northwest Arkansas, there's a couple areas of some showers and thunders that you may hear that rumble of thunder or two, maybe some small hail. In the River Valley, that's really been the main show. A couple of storms have produced up to 1-inch hail so far this afternoon, so don't be surprised if you continue to see some activity. We're watching for the potential for some hail, maybe some damaging winds over the next several hours, and that leads us into our severe thunderstorm watch, not a tornado watch, severe thunderstorm watch, and that's for these counties you see here shaded in pink, and that goes until 10 o'clock tonight. Areas in green, that's a flash flood watch in effect through Sunday morning. So we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to continue to watch. Here's a look at our risk for today. Again, there is a low end risk for northwest Arkansas. The further south and east you go, the higher that risk gets, to a 3 out of 5 in portions of the River Valley. Logan and Scott counties and Johnson counties will be in that general vicinity. So keeping an eye on that, and we're continuing to watch for the potential for maybe some heavy rainfall, some flash flooding, and then we're talking about some other potentials for some wind and some hail. We're going to have more on that here coming up.
Thanks, Joshua. Well, communities across the state are beginning to clean up after tornadoes swept across the south last night. Now, a tornado in Lake City, Arkansas destroyed homes, cars, and trees, injuring more than a dozen people yesterday. In Owasso, Oklahoma, cleanup is underway after a tornado ripped through the city, leaving widespread damage.
We had about 20 seconds to start getting ready before we started hearing the wind picking up.
It was just kind of like a roar and then a loud noise. It was pretty scary. We were holding on to each other tight and hugging the toilet.
And there's no end in sight as the South and Midwest could see a foot of rain in the next 4 days in what the Weather Service is calling a once-in-a-generation event. 5 News has reached out to Red Cross and Sheepdog Impact Assistance. They both say that they are standing by ready to respond. Well, breaking right now at 4, financial markets around the world are reeling following President Donald Trump's latest volley of tariffs. The Dow finishing the day down 16,000 points. And as CBS's Erica Brown reports, the first retaliatory tariffs in response to the move have already been announced.
Markets tumbled Thursday as nervous investors reacted to President Trump's sweeping new tariffs.
The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom.
Trump previously acknowledged there may be some temporary pain as a result of new tariffs, but says they are necessary to bring manufacturing back to the U.S.
We're up almost to $7 trillion of investment coming into our country, and you'll see how it's going to turn out. Our country's going to boom.
And across the board, 10% tariff on all imports is set to begin Saturday. Then added reciprocal tariffs start next week. And the administration's 25% tariff on all foreign vehicles and auto imports kicked in at midnight. Canada, one of America's largest trading partners, says it's retaliating against the auto tariffs.
By matching the U.S. approach with 25% tariffs on all vehicles imported from the United States that are not compliant with CUSMA, our North American Free Trade Agreement.
And car maker Stellantis says as it continues to assess the tariff impact, the company will lay off roughly 900 U.S. employees, at least temporarily, and is pausing production of facilities in Mexico and Canada. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
The Senate passed a bill last night to end the emergency declaration President Trump used to enact a 25% tariff on Canada, but the bill has little to no chance of passing the House or passing a veto from President Trump. Another deadline is fast approaching for the social media app TikTok. The deadline for TikTok to change its ownership is Saturday. CBS News has confirmed Amazon has expressed last-minute interest in buying the company, joining other contenders including Blackstone and Oracle. The White House says TikTok needs to separate from its Chinese parent company ByteDance to keep users safe.
want to make sure that the TikTok app in the United States is not spying on people.
Right.
It's good for national security. You also want to give people access to this incredible platform.
Congress passed a law last year to force the sale of TikTok, upheld by the Supreme Court. President Trump delayed the enforcement of that to allow more time to work out a buyer. Well, 3 days and 3 no votes. For the third time, state lawmakers have opposed an appropriations bill concerning the Franklin County Prison. This comes as the Board of Corrections continues to move forward with their plans for the 3,000-bed facility. This morning, the board unanimously approved the preliminary schedule for approving contractors and the request for proposals for a general contractor for that new prison. The request for proposal details the required guidelines contractors interested in bidding for the new prison must meet. It's important to note Veneer Construction has been confirmed as the managing contractor for this entire project, but other smaller contractors for design and engineering can also apply for specific roles. The board also agreed that any change to plans that would increase costs by $250,000 in the budget would need to be pre-approved and voted on by the board.
You're not just going to get, well, the budget is X dollars. Here's the finished product, please approve, and it's this much below or above whatever the project budget is. What you're going to get is these things that are funneling up that affect a piece of the design process. And that is where then you as the board will say, okay, tell us what went into this, here's what anything amounts to going into this part of the project. And then at the end, you'll have the full design.
The approved schedule says contractors can begin submitting proposals on April 8th. They also confirmed the Board of Corrections for the new facility will include a representative from the governor and the Board of Corrections. Well, the Levitt Amp Music Series kickoff is happening in Fort Smith today, and that's where we find 5 News anchor Darren Bobb. He's live with more on what's going on out there, Darren.
Well, you know, you're right. It does start today, and usually it's going to be held at the Riverfront Park in downtown Fort Smith. But because of this lousy weather that we're having and expected to have tonight, we decided to move it indoors at the Majestic on Garrison in downtown Fort Smith. So a big thank you to Anthony for letting us invade his space. Amanda Hager is executive director of Main Street, Fort Smith. This is the first of a number of concerts for this spring. What is this all about?
Okay, this is the Levitt Amp Fort Smith Music Series. We do 5 shows in the spring, and then we kick back off in September for 5 shows in the fall. These are free community concerts that are family friendly, so you can bring your dog, your grandma, your best friend, your picnic basket. We try to eliminate any barrier we can for our community to enjoy free live music. Now, tonight's a little different. We're normally at the park, right? But we are at the Majestic, which is an incredible music venue. You know, we say this is a community concert because we want everyone to come, but also our community shows up for us when we need them and we need a venue. So huge thank to Majestic for that.
So we listened to Brother Maven do their sound check. Oh my gosh. Now I know they're the headliner, but there is a band before them tonight.
That's right. So you heard Brother Maven. They're out of Nashville. I mean, powerful vocals, those melodies that are just going to get you grooving. You're going to want to move, right? But before that, Nikki Waters' band is going to get you pumped up. So she's incredible. Her guys that play with her are so good, and they're local. They're here from Fort Smith. They play around Fort Smith all the time. She has a huge following, so I know all her fans are going to be coming out.
And if you couldn't do it downtown at the park, Majestic is the best next place.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a beautiful indoor venue. We are still going to have activities for the kids, so they have you can bring your kids. Like, don't worry, it's not 21 and up tonight. You can bring your kids. We'll have kid activities for them. There'll still be food and drink, so please come on out.
All starts at 6.
That's right. The Nikki Waters Band kicks off at 6. Our headliner goes on at 7:15. The doors open at 5:30.
Okay, so about another hour and a half or so. Amanda, thank you so much. We'll see you in a couple of hours down on the floor. Morgan, it's going to be a great night of music. We hope that you can come out. If it's indoors, so don't worry about any rain or weather. Plenty of parking along Garrison Avenue. We hope you see you tonight at 5:30.
All right, thanks, Darren. It already sounds like so much fun out there. And the Walmart Amp is also getting ready for the concert season. Today, we actually got a sneak peek at some of the new concession items for this season. We got to sample some of those from the culinary team.
People don't always realize that here at the AMP, we actually have a full culinary team. We work with several chefs from our vendor concessionaires. So it's more than just your standard ballpark concessions.
The first show there will be a week from tomorrow on Friday, April 11th. And today is NWA Gives Day, meaning until 8 tonight, you have the opportunity to give to hundreds of local nonprofits and their missions here in the area. The money given today will help these organizations with their work for the next year as they work to help our community. For a list of the nonprofits participating and more on how you can give, you can go to the NWA Gives website.